In the hollow where the shadows fall, we gather round, we hear the call. Liquid fire from the mountain's hand burns like truth, but it tastes like sand. Oh, it sure feels right at the end of the day. Drink it up, let the story stay. The creek laughs low, the fire cracks loud. We lose ourselves in a moonlit crowd. So thick it hums and sings, a slow dance wrapped in unseen strings, clear as glass, but it bites like a snake, sharp and cold, every breath we take. Oh, the stars know our sins tonight. Let that burn till the world spins right. The creek laughs low, the fire cracks loud. We lose ourselves in a moonlit crowd. Secrets deep, the kind you tell.
Well, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. I'm Jody, and this is the Defence Rests. If this is your first time here and you've just washed up upon our shores, then welcome, and click that lovely like button at the bottom. That'd be awesome. If it's your second time or any other more than once, suffer in the jocks. You've been warned and you know what you're in for. So welcome, everyone. And thank you, Salty, for joining us. Salty Sleuth's in the house, everyone. Who else have we got here on this, well, it's Thursday for you, isn't it? Thursday evening. It is way too early for me to be up here. I don't normally do AM. But I am. That's how dedicated I am. So, who have we got? Hello, Miss Tricia. Love your guts. Hello, Missy. How you doing? Thank you for joining us. Who else? We got some newbies. Oh, AT Pause. How you doing, sweetheart? Oh, Salty can't see you, but tell her hi from me. She can see you because she said, Tricia, how you going? Are you on? Salty must be on our link, not Apple Dreamers. Nope, and I'm sitting way too low. So I apologise for being late. Brandy was going to join me this morning, but she's had a bit of a family crisis, so she may pop in a bit later. But we will play that by ear. Never mind. So, appropriate hat today. Yeah? The colossal amount of fuckery is afoot. If you haven't been watching or listening in the news lately, everything that we've been discussing over the last 6 weeks or so, and the things that we've been discovering, well, they went in our heads. They've all pretty much come true. So, the media articles that appeared at the start of the world a few days ago from ProPublica have pretty much addressed the fact that was one of the founding programs in Letcher County, headed by pretty much Michael Clark. I think it was Judge Mullins's baby, really. They created the ARC, which is the Appalachian Rehabilitation Clinic, and Michael Clark was employed there and was almost a front man for it as an outreach pastor. Now, let me give you a bit of, if you don't know who Michael Clark is by chance, well, let me tell you. So, let me go back to where that was. One too many. The one that says biography, Jody, that's that's it. Good on. You can go up there. Okay, so this is a massive breakthrough in Letcher County, as far as I'm concerned, because our whole purpose is to try and get this message out to the public. And me making all these claims about this, how they've been ripping off, the Title IV funding and all the rest of it, and you've all listened to me rant and rave, I sound like I'm cray-cray. But this is validation for me that I'm only partially cray-cray and not completely. So bear with me. It's so ingrained and so complex, it's very difficult to describe it, but it's reading through the articles, it gives you a much better idea on how they're doing it, and that will be their downfall. They've had 60 years to perfect the actual techniques, but they've also had 60 years to get comfortable and get lazy and greedy, and that will be their downfall. So Michael Clark's history. So if you remember, he was the last person in the car with Mickey prior to the shooting of Judge Mullins. And he went with him on the food delivery up to the bush, which we discussed on our last stream. If you haven't seen it, it's in the playlist. Check it out, because it gives you a bit more of a background on and exactly details what was going through Mickey's head in the lead up to the shooting. So Michael was the pastor there. So he was actually born and raised in Harlan County, and his father was a coal operator and his mum was a nurse. So it wasn't, it was an average home. They weren't, multimillionaires, and they weren't that poor either. But he went to the University of Kentucky and completed his degree before he got an OxyContin addiction. And by 2003, he sort of spiraled pretty much right into a full-blown substance disorder. So he was then convicted and charged and served 5 years for felony drug trafficking offences. And then whilst he was in the prison, because he reoffended and then did another 3 years, I think it was, in 2016. Yes, it was. He became known as like the gladiator for drugs, because he was the go-to man. So whilst in there, in the December of 2016, he committed himself to the faith and began his transformation. Funny how that happens. Yeah, he claims to be, at the time of this report, 9 years sober, but he was the outreach guidance pastor at ARC and worked very closely with Mullins on it and everyone else. And that program exploded, basically, particularly over the COVID years. Now, let me give you a bit of a history on ARC so that we know what we're talking about. Where did you go? Nope. I said to my girlfriend before I started, I'm going to put this stream list here that I've written down and in detail planned out. I said, and I won't look at it for once throughout the stream because I'll forget to, and then my brain will just go, nah, not happening. All right, I've got a little clip here of Michael Clark as when he joined and what he was doing back then for ARC. Here we go. Hopefully you can all see that. In Biggin. Look.
And I dropped out. I flunked out.
Still haven't got this fucking resolution. Mm. Right, now you can see him. So this is Michael Clark addressing his congregation. Now, Michael Clark, once the shooting occurred, he disappeared into the nethers, like poof, gone. And he actually is running a mission in Hazard County, I think. Hazard or Harlan, starts with a H, one of them. So he was pretty much given a promotion. But there is no, like, for the last person to be in the car or to be with Mickey on his own prior to the shooting, I know there's statements and interviews and recordings, but they're all being withheld. We cannot get hold of any of them. I do have someone on the job, but I won't hold my breath. We'll see. Hopefully it'll be a bonus.
And I dropped out. I flunked out of school. There wasn't no dropping out. I flunked out. So I said, I'll go back home, go in the coal mines, because my dad was a coal miner. My brothers are coal miners. My papa, I was just going to go back and go in the coal mines. And I thought changing those scenes, and, I thought if I could get out of Lexington and all that, I could go back and be okay. But, I went back and it looked like The Walking Dead by the time I got home. Now, I remembered about the connections I'd made so I could go up there, get these pills, come back home, sell them. And like I said, I had...
Now, remember that? Connections he's made. Because I have an avid believer that he absolutely contributed to at least some of the production or possession of all these narcotics during the opioid crisis. I know he makes me want to...
that I was going to retire soon and I was going to quit. Well, I live in a town with 2 stoplights. So it didn't take long for the police to...
Salty, email me, love.
...know what I was doing. And when the driveway looks like Burger King, they wasn't going to let me have it my way. So I picked up my first felony for trafficking narcotics at 23-year-old.
That's aspiring.
You know how it is when you first get your first one, it's in probation. Second one, drug court. That continued until I got just enough rope to hang myself. At 25-year-old on my 3rd felony, I got sentenced to 7 years in prison. I got sent to the Rotary Farm. I get down there, still in denial, thinking the police was bad. They were against me. I was set up. I didn't have a problem. All in denial. Denial is not a river. That right? I'm not talking about the Nile. I'm talking about denial. See, and I was in denial. I thought I could quit when I wanted. I could stop when I needed to. All these things. And then my children's mother got pregnant, and I was going to be a father. And any of y'all parents out there, it's in recovery. So this when I become a dad, I said I'm going to quit for my children.
Generation, aren't they
lucky? That was a
lucky?
lie. I was in Bell County in Pathfort, Kentucky, shooting up heroin in a trailer with no floor or running water. I didn't get to see my daughter be born. So I get locked back up. This cycle continues in and out, 31 arrests, 7 convictions for felonies. About 5 years later, my son comes along. Now, as a man, I always wanted a son. I wanted to take him fishing. I wanted to teach him to play baseball. I wanted to give him all these things. I said, I'm quitting. My son's coming. I'm quitting. And when my son was born, I was in the Harlan camping up.
Right. So I just give you a bit of an idea on how he got to where he is and how he started and where he comes from. So now we've been doing a bit of a deep dive into the Letcher County Jail and what happened behind the scenes in Ben Fields and Mickey Steins, and also trying to follow the money, because that's where the bottom line is basically money. So in doing so, we discovered that there were 8 programs being offered at the Letcher County Jail, like rehabilitative, that's a word, is now, programs on their website that they state are being offered at the county. Now, the programs that they have listed on their website, you need a level 4 qualification to be able to provide to and teach, of which they do not have anyone that is qualified. They're not even a level 4 funded facility. And that took us down another rabbit hole. And then we end up finding, I was actually going to do a complaint or not a complaint, or report fraud to the DOJ at the time. But in the format I was filling out, it asked me to list what federally funded grant item number was. So then I went down another rabbit hole and discovered a picture of Mickey Steins, Judge Mullins, Judge Kraft, Brett and Bert Sloan, one of the CEOs of something. I can't remember his Matt Haggard. Anyway, and there was one other. Anyway, it was like the top knobs, and they were standing in front of a sign that had the sign of the funding in front of it. So what we discovered was they have, I know I've put it up here. Nope. All right, here it is. So it was a program called the Second Chance, where is it? Second Chance Adult Reentry Program. And then they changed the name to Southeast Kentucky Reentry Program. And that was on the sign behind these hobnobs. And they offer, that grant specifically offers like cognitive behavioural therapy, seeking safety, trauma treatments, life skills, relapse preventions, parenting classes, anger management, and the rest. Okay? But they don't offer the services there at all. The inmates don't even know. Like I told Brandy and Ty, and they'd never heard of it. Never heard of them. So we tried to find out how they're doing that, because normally the funding comes down through the fiscal courts to the jailer, and the jailer gets to allocate where all that money goes to. And in doing so, we discovered that they actually applied for the funding through Mountain Comprehensive Healthcare, who do have level 4 staff to cover that criteria for that grant. So basically, they are receiving, well, this is what I had worked out or deduced, they are receiving the Title IV funding for these programs and not offering the services. So there is no outlay and no costs. So it's 100% profit. Okay, so that was where we started. And now the mainstream media have actually picked up on it. And I will go through that article with you now, because it explains it way better than me, especially this time of the day when it's still sleep o'clock. Oh, well, that was set for 2 people. We really need a bit more. Here we go. Share screen. So this one came out. There is actually, the dates on a couple of them are back from January, but no one really picked up on them back then. So this is the Visa Laser, and they have teamed up with ProPublica. Okay, so this was written This was done on April the 10th this year. Okay, all right. So it's been republished by ProPublica. They've copied it. So drink. Hey, Christine, how are you, darling? Welcome. Yes. The old gag reflex is definitely present when helps if I add it to the stage, doesn't it? I wonder if I can get. Let me see if I can do something. Let me just. Let me see. Yeah. No, I can't. Bugger. I'm going to have to read it. Okay. Renault Shirley. I'm not liking this layout. Not one bit. That's better. Okay. Now you can read it. So, Renault Shirley, Renault, them. Someone Shirley remembers the first time that he was asked to falsify billing reports for Kentucky's largest drug rehab centre. He had just returned from a church service, where the company's founder and owner, a charismatic Christian from Eastern Kentucky, preached about the value of getting sober to hundreds of clients and staff at the addiction recovery care. ARC. Shirley, who's 58, led the recovery group discussions at ARC and said one of his supervisors told him to submit an invoice for the day's cancelled treatment sessions. With it, Shirley said he was told to fabricate the details of a group discussion, including quotations from clients, as if they had attended a meeting. Now, I'll explain that. As part of the criteria for approval for funding, federal full funding, or Title 4 federal funding, you need to be able to show how it's going, like how you've got to report back basically and say it's been successful. Have we had any failures? What's the go? You need to provide that feedback to them to keep the grant money coming. This is why they're falsifying this information. And it is actually the previous staff from ARC itself that are making these claims that are reporting into the media. And I will say too, it's become, it's been brought to my attention that there are a number, at least in double digits, of people who were prior or employees of ARC that are no longer with us, that all apparently found the need to unalive themselves, allegedly. And I will also say that in this last week, at least 3 people from Brandy and Tyre's circle also found that need. So you can connect the dots. That will be delved into further, and we will let you know what the actual statistics are. And anyway, next. It was fraud, Shirley told the Lexington Herald leader, adding that he'd refused to do so, but he said he saw others do it often when they gathered to enter their reports into the billing system, which is what they report back to government. Shirley and ARC were part of a new economy, a boom fueled by misery and addiction and easy money from government officials, desperate to curtail the opioid crisis. Now, the opioid crisis, I am also a firm believer, and it's my speculation and it's my opinion only, but I believe that was also created. That crisis was created by the powers that be in Kentucky so that then they could then apply for grants to fix it. You know, things like the opiate programs and all the rehab programs, anything to do with it, they all have Title IV funding attached. Every single one of them. Everything that has a program at the end of it, pretty much, government federal funds. So, stop. ARC reigned above all of them, providing more than 2/3 of all treatment beds in Kentucky. Now, you've got to remember, to get into the ARC program, you normally get referred, or it's part of your parole conditions. And guess who did that? Guess who fed them? Judge Mullins, Jimmy Kraft. I would lay money that any parole conditions between 2018 and the 24th of September 2024 had that condition that you need to do this program if it was drug related. Actually, no, probably most of them. Because that's how they do it. That's how they funnel them through. That's how they get their numbers up. Then they do the rehab program. They cause them to fail. And then they go back through the system. Because every time is an additional funding. And the funding that they would get for a rehabilitation program, it's not ongoing. You know, there would be a cutoff. And I'm tipping there would also be incentives of the government for a certain number of referrals reached or patients seen. So yeah, it's all incentive driven, which is not particularly the optimum conditions to achieve success. And there isn't, if you Google the success rates on these programs, there's nothing at all. Okay, so they reigned above all, had 2/3 of the treatment beds in Kentucky at its peak in 2024. So between 2019 and 2024, ARC had billed the state $1.7 billion. $1.7 billion. Of which it was paid more than $377 million in state Medicaid money for addiction treatment services. Now, that's all well and good if they were doing it. During those years, ARC won praise for its program. The US Department of Health and Human Services called them the models, basically, and Newsweek named the company one of the best addiction treatment providers in the country. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear called its founder an essential partner in our fight against addiction. I think it's probably more aptly named an essential partner in our lining our pockets, for 1.7. But ARC's growth was fueled in part by the billing practices that federal prosecutors and former employees now allege may have amounted to fraud. FBI investigators were alerted to the case through a whistleblower. I want to know who this is. I would love to know who they are. In a whistleblower suit filed in 2023, which alleged that ARC fraudulently billed Medicaid for a therapeutic service called psychoeducation. The FBI has asked those who believe you were victimized by ARC to fill out a tip form. Now, I do have that link to that form pinned at the top of the page and in the description box below. And it's basically, they're looking for information, but they're also providing support services as well. It's to do with the victims of crime, and it's put out by the Department of Justice. So check it out, because the more people that do put input into it and they have evidence, the more likely that the dominoes will fall. And that's what we want. All right, that investigation is ongoing, according to the FBI. ProPublica and the Herald Leader interviewed 6 people affiliated with the company over the last 6 years, including former staff members, clients, and some who came for treatment and were later hired on. That's what happened to Stacey Yates. He was a a patient or whatever you call it, inmate, whatever, of the program, and then became one of these psychoeducators, support peer support, whatever you want to call them. They shared publicly for the first time how they came to ARC seeking help for addiction, but became reluctant participants in the company's alleged billing scheme. 2 of them have said they made similar statements to federal investigators. Part of the fraud, 3 of them said, was committed at the explicit urging of supervisors who told them they were under pressure to meet billing targets set by the ARC leaders. Billing targets. Wouldn't you be under pressure to help rehabilitate people? A circumstance exacerbated by a persistent lack of qualified staff, they said. Okay, so they hire unqualified staff, or bottom of the ladder as far as education, to provide these services. So their outlay, again, they're minimising it so that they can get maximum profit. Yeah? Is it starting to make sense? Hello, darling. Martha Mitchell Effect. Welcome. I take it Brett's finished. I've really got to change this time because I don't like clashing with Brett. We need to be either side. That way we can watch both. Hello, Liz. How you doing, sweetheart? Welcome. Welcome. Lovely to see you. Thanks again. This is good. This is big shit. This is massive shit. And it's only downhill from here for them. And we have the honour of watching that happen in real time. All right. So those who talked to the news organisations did not keep contemporaneous notes and do not have access to the company emails that could support their claims because they no longer work for ARC. But their accounts are corroborated by other clients and referred to in 2 key documents. The first was a draft settlement agreement between ARC and the state of Kentucky and the Department of Justice, filed by lawyers suing ARC in January as evidence in an unrelated civil suit. Let's have a look, shall we? I never actually looked at this. Okay, so these are filings. Let me share this instead. Settlement agreement. Settlement agreement is entered into among the United States of America, acting through the U.S. Department of Justice and on behalf of the Office of the Inspector General of the Department of Health and Human Services. That's a massive mouthful. Well, yeah, okay. All these people. The Addiction Recovery Centre, or ARC, is a Kentucky limited liability company. Now, that's an LLC company. And I mention this because in talking to Lee the other day from Devil's Advocates, he was talking about becoming an LLC or creating an LLC company in Kentucky, because that is one of the ways that you can get around the residence rule and get hold of documents. Because if you have an LLC licensed business in Kentucky, you just need a PO box and then you meet their criteria to obtain the documents. And he was telling me how easy it was. It was like $40, bang, done, sorted. So, having said that, now, ARC being a Kentucky LLC company, they had not just one LLC company, they had multiple. And each one of those has the ability to claim the same funding. So this is where they get greedy. Instead of just being content with one, they open multiple business accounts, shell companies, and claim them from there. That's their greed, and that will be the downfall. Hey, Jenny G, how you going, sweetheart? Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Have you seen all these news reports coming out about the fraud? It's awesome. It's massive. Oh, and Vinny went live yesterday too. He did a statement, I don't know if you saw, as part of his stream on his private, personal YouTube channel. And he pretty much explains what happened with Court TV. So if you don't know, Law and Crime actually bought Court TV out. And I think there might have been a big reshuffle staffing on people that wanted to stay, people that didn't want to stay, people that were not allowed to stay. I'm assuming the old usual stuff when you have a takeover. I didn't listen to all of it, but yes, he pretty much confirmed what I'd been told, because the girls, Ty and Brandy, said that the people that interviewed them initially for this big documentary that's supposed to be coming out this month sometime were the owners of the mother company of Law and Crime. And they told me months ago that they'd bought Court TV. So there you have it. So hopefully that comes out this month. And if I find it, you'll be damn sure I'll be sharing it. It'll be interesting to see how they portray it, actually. Interesting. All right. So this is Odyssey Inc. It's a Kentucky corporation that maintains its principal place of business in Louisa, Kentucky. Odyssey is a behavioural healthcare and medical healthcare provider that offers substance abuse treatment services to patients. Odyssey is managed by ARC. Right. Okay. So these are the octopus legs. Yeah. These are the it's almost like pyramid marketing. Okay. You've got your parent company, and then because they own so many properties everywhere, the conglomerate, they then pop up all of these little rehab centres, and they're all linked back to ARC, and they all get funded independently. Okay. 12 minutes from you. Ooh. It'll be interesting to see if you've been to any of the... Oh, no, you don't have to go to rehab. Sorry, Tricia. Ouch. Back pain. Pioneer Health Group, a subsidiary of ARC, is a Kentucky LLC company. It maintains its principal place of business in Louisa as well. Healthcare offers medical services to ARC and Odyssey patients. Okay. Righto. D. Science Hill Family Care, a Pioneer Rural Health Clinic, a subsidiary of ARC, is a Kentucky LLC that maintains its principal place of business in Louisa, Kentucky. Provides healthcare services to ARC and Odyssey patients and the general public. At all relevant times, ARC, Odyssey, Pioneer, and Pioneer Rehabilitation, Rural Health, submitted or caused to be submitted claims for payment to the Medicaid program in Kentucky, including its managed care organisations, and to the Medicaid program. Pioneer, they are hereafter referred to as the ARC entities. April 25th, 2023, so 3 years ago now. Relators filed a quitam action in the United States District Court of the Eastern District of Kentucky, captioned civil action, we'll call it, pursuant to the quitam provisions of the false claims on blah, blah, blah date in that part of the civil action where it alleges ARC knowingly submitted or caused to be submitted false claims to Kentucky Medicaid for psychoeducation services. Now, we'll go into what that means in a second, the psychoeducation services, but so the fraud charges or allegations relating to falsifying medical records to wrongfully obtain prior authorization for claims from federally funded insurers. 2, making false certifications in Paycheck Protection Program and loan applications. So it's all done online. Yay. 3, billing for services that were already reimbursed through the operative unit. So double dipping. So they've claimed the Medicaid funding, and then they're claiming the treatment service by the people doing the psychoeducation. Number 4, the unlawful distribution of certain medication-assisted treatments. Suboxone. Yeah? Who runs those? How many options do you have? Where can you go and get them? How many places? Really? What do you say? Hundreds? No? You have any options in where you purchase that said medication or have that said treatment? March 24, ARC self-disclosed improper payments arising from the covered conduct described in paragraph H1. H1. Falsifying medical records. Okay. Which included reimbursements for claims submitted by ARC. Or claims ARC caused to be... Oh. Okay. So they're jumbling it around. They're using the same information at the different treatment centres. Dumbasses. In December 2024, ARC self-disclosed additional improper payments arising from the covered conduct described in paragraphs H345. 3. Billing for services that were already reimbursed. 4. The unlawful distribution of certain medication-assisted treatments. And 5. The provision of medically unnecessary services and incorrectly billing for provided services. Yep. This isn't even the worst of it yet. Just hold tight because there is so much more coming. So we pretty much, this is the initial settlement put out back then. So Pioneer submitted claims to Kentucky Medicaid with dates of services. This is all pretty much COVID. For care management services for behavioural health conditions using that Medicaid code of 99484. The United States and the Commonwealth of Kentucky alleged that the care management services were false because the services performed did not meet the coverage requirements, in that the services were billed by providers who did not possess the necessary credentials. All right, so they're basically providing what they call a service that's supposed to be provided by someone with qualifications, be it a psychotherapist, a psychiatrist, whoever. But they would hire all of these people to be support people and called it psychoeducation. And the definition of that is pretty much, any discussion to have with someone about rehabilitation or addiction. It was very broad, and that's how they got around it. But they wouldn't offer the backup services that go along with that. So you couldn't get any treatment further than a discussion about opiate addiction or rehabilitation. Yeah? Is it clicking yet? Okay, so we go back to this one. So that was the draft settlement we just went through there. Need another sip. I can keep talking. All right, let me check the comments while I'm here. Hello, Martha Mitchell. There is an abandoned movie theatre that connects to attorney Kevin Bryant office in Crossville, Tennessee. It has 20 or more attorneys in there with no pictures on their profile or anyway. Yeah. Yep. It sounds familiar. Hey, Jenny G, does anyone here have the new gift option instead of super stickers? Gift option, what's that? I don't know what that is. I only just heard about Hyper and I don't even know how to do that. Jenny, you're talking about the sunshine thingy? What? Please explain. Seriously, I'm not sure. It's like you buy jewels and then can send a gift to the creator through the jewels. Oh, I like jewels. Jewels I'm into. It seems to be in place of my super sticker option. Oh, let me have a look. Let me have a look in the back end, because everything happens in the back end of YouTube. I'm just saying. What's that? Start a Q&A, start a poll, members only live stream. What's this one? Super stickers, super chats. Who's writing a super chat? I can see it. I can see the dots jumping. I can't see anything other than that. That's it. And I was trying to gift some memberships because I see everyone else doing it, but you need a minimum of 10 members to do it. I think I've got 7. So if you're keen, it's $2.99, whole $2.99 a month. And then I can gift them to other people as well. And I dropped all of the different levels. It's just one fund, one amount. That's it, and you get a decent amount of extras for that money, I believe. And I'll be working on improving that as well as we go. Right now, I'm head down, bum up in research mode. But yeah, if you've got any info, send it through because I would like to know about that too. Who else have we got? Tricia, I saw it used, but I don't have that option. Okay. I think it's, again, one of those things that the creator needs to have a certain level of either subscribers or members to offer, I'm assuming. James Nathan Hargis was before arrested. I don't know who that is, Dale. In a call centre where they hacked the whole town. Duplicate for FBI, Social Security Office, and many more. Yeah, you're never really getting the real. They falsely arrested me and made 5 variations of my name. Yes. Sent 10 care cards with all the aliases. Yes, they do. They do. And that's one of the things that's really, really scary. And you know, something that I've been hearing about in Letcher County for a long time now. And then I have people reach out to me and it's like deja vu. They are saying the exact same thing, just swapping out the names in counties around Perry, Pike, Harlan, Hazard, and now Tennessee, where Martha is. It's everywhere. And I think once this fraud is exposed, you will actually see how far spread that cancer went. Because if they're seen doing it and they've got away with it for so long, let's do it. Let's go. How would they know? Let me tell you, Judge Mullins didn't just serve the bench of Letcher County. He moonlighted at a couple of places, just for a couple of days a month, sorry. And then he had the old, Chinese whispers. Get around, don't you worry. So if you don't think that the jailer knew anything about what was going on with Ben Fields or Judge Mullins, sorry. Yeah, you need to take your blinkers off, unplug your ears, and yeah. Just open your eyes, perhaps. So the suit, which is pending, alleges that ARC failed to repay at least $8 million it borrowed from 2 loan companies to pay the DOJ settlement. So they're reneging on their settlement payments from being charged with fraud. Who'd have thought? They're good for it. Come on. It's just like a vicious circle, go round and round. Oh, and none of these funds went through the fiscal court. They bypassed it. ARC failed to pay the company. The draft DOJ settlement document alleges that ARC knowingly falsified some medical records between 2018 and 2024 in order to collect the $16 million for group meetings, like Shirley described. It allegedly collected millions more by using low-level staff to bill the state for services that, under the law, must be delivered by a doctor or licensed therapist. The second document was a 2025 investigative report by the Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services that has yet to be released, but obtained by ProPublica and the Herald Leader. That report said state investigators found that ARC had violated so many regulatory standards, lack of staff chief among them, that the conditions posed an immediate danger to client health, safety, and welfare. Now, what does that tell you? That right there, okay? Those dates, particularly 2025. I would hazard a guess that anyone receiving treatments from ARC or Odyssey or Pioneer in those times is possibly entitled to compensation. because it's been identified that the conditions posed an immediate danger to client health, safety, and welfare. Just saying, just putting it out there, okay? If that door's open, it doesn't close. If they plead guilty to this, because what they do, they don't take things to trial, so they keep all of their little secrets hidden and they don't get exposed through the trial process. But they also think that covers them. It's not just what you say, it's what you don't say too. Indifference is not a defense. Ignorance is not a defense, not when you're in a position of power. Or any position, really. So yes, if this action goes through, this motion goes through, I'll be the first person to be getting hold of the victims' compensation, victims of crime and compensation. The link's in the box at the top of the chat. It's in the description box. All right. So, in response to questions for this story, ARC said it voluntarily disclosed billing areas to state and federal authorities after the company hired an outside agency to order its billing practices. Now, I read that as ARC employed a company to clean up their books for the audits by the feds. Yeah. The draft settlement with the Department of Justice, the company said, was not supposed to be made public. Oh, bugger. See? Sprung. ARC has never knowingly or fraudulently billed Medicaid for services, and there is no evidence that the organisation encouraged employees to falsify group notes for billing purposes. ARC's Vice President of Marketing, Vanessa Keaton, wrote, "What did you expect her to say? Really? She's answerable to the higher-ups. If she admits it." And that's where the hand goes out. Keep your mouth shut. Here's your cut. Someone should put that on my hat. I'm going to write that down. Keep your mouth shut. Here's your cut. Pretty much. Okay. Get off there. So, she said that the company could not comment on stuff, but that it maintains a strict zero tolerance policy for fraud and non-compliant billing practices. You can put whatever zeros you want on a piece of paper, love, but yeah, you can put lipstick on a pig, still a pig. Keaton added that any claims from clients or peer support specialists about whether a specific service was billed are based on our assumptions and do not accurately reflect actual billing practices. I call bullshit. 1 second. Ready? Here we go. 3, 2.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Correct. What she said. Nearly all of the people interviewed for this story credit ARC with playing a key role in their sobriety, but most also said they felt betrayed by an organisation that publicly touted a Christian message, which is where Michael Clark comes in, and a commitment to helping others while internally prioritising money over the well-being of their clients and staff. And that right there, people, is their mantra, okay, for the last 60 years. Right there. And that is beyond disgraceful, beyond anything. You cannot put enough zeros at the end of a number that will ever make that better. But each one of those zeros cuts them down another peg. Yeah? You take away their income, you take away their power. They got nothing. They've already lost their credibility. And how many times, like ARC is explicitly linked to the judges, to the court systems. It's the natural progression. It's just the dominoes are going to fall from here in. They have to. Otherwise, they're not investigating it because I can do it. In late 2008, ARC owner Tim Robinson was working as an assistant county attorney. Oh, really? Well, there's another link. Look at that. Look at that. Handy. Especially if people are trying to prosecute you. And he had an epiphany. Yep, an epiphany. An evangelical Christian who'd recently gotten sober from alcoholism, Robinson had said God told him to start a healthcare ministry. He told him to help his neighbours in the mountains and hollows of Appalachia and that were hit hard by the opioid crisis. There were few treatment centres in the state at that time. Good idea. Good job, God. Gold star. Robinson in 2010 opened the first ARC Centre in Louisa, a small town on the West Virginian border 30 miles from his hometown in Martin County. ARC steadily grew across eastern Kentucky in 2015. The company was the state's first drug treatment provider to accept Medicaid patients. This is where Kevin Mullins comes in. I believe he is the mastermind behind connecting the two and therefore maximising their profits, which is why I think they gave him so much free rein. This dramatically increased the number of available clients. The following year, ARC unveiled its year-long Crisis to Career program. Yeah? Who put that together? Crisis to Career program. That's what Judge Mullen does. He creates these programs, sets up the whole, this is the mission statement. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. We just need this money. Yeah? Equal parts to drug treatments and job training that ultimately helped clients become staff at ARC. But it was during the COVID-19 pandemic that ARC exploded in size, thanks in large part to the changes in the billing rules that were put in place by the governor. Oh, really? That's handy. Thanks, Andy. Cheers. Cheers for that. Yep. Good. Lovely. Lovely. Yep. As the global health crisis unfolded, Robinson, a well-connected political donor who has given hundreds of thousands to people, both major parties, including Bashir, well, you're doing that every day, a Democrat, who cares, emailed the governor and said, drug treatment centres needed help to stay afloat amid pandemic restrictions. Good on you. In March 2020, Bashir signed an executive order that gave companies providing addiction services new latitude. Bless him. He's got to be looking after his investments. Yeah? Otherwise they don't return. Otherwise your super's fucked. You retire on that. The 7 managed care organisations that controlled Medicaid billing in the state would need to allow providers to bill for an expanded menu of services without prior approval. Let's read that again, shall we? Bashir signed an executive order that gave companies providing addiction services new latitude. The 7 managed care organisations that controlled Medicaid billing in the state would need to allow providers to bill for an expanded menu of services without prior approval. But wait, there's more. Bashir said last month the order helped the Commonwealth make significant and important progress in the fight against addiction. Translation, it made significant and important process in the ability to line their pockets without the fucking the red tape. Yeah. This is their interpretation. Mine. Okay. Next one. Kentucky has lost far too many children of God to overdose-related deaths. Now, if that isn't a kick in the teeth, to Jennifer Hall, to Lexi Bentley, to Trina Sandlin, and to anyone else. And there are too many to even like mention. I'm not talking like 10s, 20s, 100s. I'm more. And yeah, that will be another stream. But that, to me, right there, is the biggest insult and the biggest kick in the teeth that they could have said to Kentucky, because that tells me they don't give a fuck. They are that arrogant to make that statement about the overdosing deaths, aka hot shots. Yeah. Yep. Let me have a look in the comments. Teresa, there is a sunshine one. Jenny, I saw it used today in another chat. Thanks, Jenny. See that sparkles I just sent? What? Did I miss something? Sparkles? That's the gifted thing. What the hell are we talking about? Okay, Martha says that I didn't fit the criteria for alcohol or drug abuse. We didn't have enough categories, so they false diagnosed me as schizophrenic with no history. Yes, they will do anything. They falsify drug tests. They falsify criminal records. All of it. Just look at Brianna, okay? So Brianna was the first person to come forward and report to Vicky that there were things that were going wrong, inappropriate behaviour with Ben Fields back in 2021, 2 years before they took away his badge and gun. And Brianna was in prison there because she had been charged with possession of meth. She wasn't charged with dealing or trafficking because it was one big Ziploc bag. It wasn't lots of little Ziploc baggies, yeah? But the Ziploc baggie that it was in, the big one, was Epsom salts. But guess what? They never tested it. Why would you test it when you know it's going to come back as something else, and then you don't have the ability to lay charges if they don't test it? All they have to do is convince the person with the charges that they have, or that they've got all this information against them, and the best thing that they can do is take this deal, and they're full of shit. It is not illegal for a police officer to lie to you. It is not. It is well known. So my advice to anybody being charged with anything, do not take a deal. Take it to trial, because then they have to produce it in front of a jury. And they won't, because they ain't got nothing. And even if they were trying to falsify that information, going back and trying to make something fit a square peg on a round hole is not easy. And you can't create a paper trail. You can't create, transactions, phone calls. Do you know what I mean? Backdate. You can't. So take it to trial. Never, ever take a deal. Ever, ever, ever. Unless you're guilty. And it works to your favour. But if you're innocent, no way. I would never. That's why we're seeing so many cases go to trial. And if you have been an inmate at any jail, but particularly at Asher County, how many people that are actually in there with you have gone to trial and been found guilty beyond all reasonable doubt. But you can count them on one hand. But yeah, just my opinion, and I'm allowed to have it. So once they graduated from ARC's program, many transitioned on to staff and providing services that they could bill to Medicaid. Okay, so the order allowed easier billing for psychoeducation. Thanks, Andy. Cheers. A session during which a clinical talks to a patient about their diagnosis and treatment. The broadly defined service, which is at the time could be billed for multiple times a week per client, is usually provided as part of a clinical therapy session. So it's part of the program where you have the basic, you have your tiers from your bottom tier where it's just the discussion and chat, and then you go up to delving into it further, and then treatment options with the professionals. And hopefully by the end of that, you are then equipped with the skills to be rehabilitated back into society and to learn to cope with your addiction. That's the whole point, isn't it? So it's provided as part of a clinical therapy session, but Kentucky allows it to be billed as a separate service. That's an Andy. Which state Medicaid experts oppose because it drives up the cost of treatment. So when it's packaged together, it's all inclusive. When it's on its own, it can be charged multiple times instead of just the one program, one therapy program, yeah. It's broken away, so that can be exploited, and therefore it drives up the cost of the treatment. But that drives up the profit. It's directly related. So from 2019 and 2024, ARC billed the state over $400 million for psychoeducation and peer support. Just that service. Just that. By unqualified staff. Yeah? The cog's turning? Yeah? Keep listening. Because it ain't finished yet. What have we got? What's that? Supposedly it sends the creator money through AdSense. Okay, AdSense is the YouTube account. So if you get money through the ads on your YouTube account, it's the money, it's the account that YouTube pays into, basically, to the creators. You have to be an AdSense account holder to be monetized. They hacked my bank and stole my... They did that to Sabrina. They did that to Sabrina as well. They hacked her account and her son's credit card account. And they did a stupid thing, like they used her son's credit card to pay for her ex-husband's internet bill. Now, I reckon that transaction linked them to his internet account, which allowed them to access his information. Why would you do that? Why else? Yeah, there has to be something in that email or receipt or whatever, the process that connects the two and then allows them access to his information. Even though... So, Martha, can you email me that person that did the lawyer that did that? So, because I'm interested to know at what level he's at in the scale of things to get that access, because that access is like, yeah, that's high-end stuff. All right, so this earned the company more than 125 million profits. About a quarter of all reimbursements paid to Kentucky providers during that time. All reimbursements paid to Kentucky providers during that time. The revenue allowed it to open at least 4 new centres. Wacko! Yep, that's 4 times more income, including the roughly 700-bed Crown Recovery Centre on a former college campus. See, they own the schools as well. the property, which allows them to just put whatever they want on it. License to print money, another location. And to purchase a shuttered hospital campus in Ashland. What do you think? The pubs in Whitefield, they're owned by the good old boys, both of them. So, ARC now uses Ashland for inpatient, outpatient, and psych services. Psychoeducation soon became ARC's most lucrative service. So look at that. So these are what used to be known as peer support services, and this is the psychoeducation. So it started at what? 10 million there, all the way up. Yeah, 100 at least. The spiking billing caught the attention of the companies that oversee Medicaid spending. Whoops, the auditors found you. Whoopsie. That's greed. That's what gotcha. Liz Stearman, Director of Behavioural Health for Humana and other Medicaid experts, repeatedly warned Kentucky officials. Really? Repeatedly warned Kentucky officials that the state's high spending on lower-level peer support and psychoeducation without the attendant clinical services wasn't helping people seeking addiction treatment. It wasn't helping them. Really? Really? The Director of Behavioural Health was telling you this shit ain't working because you got nothing to back it up. And what did they do? The same thing Mickey did, the same thing Bert did when all the sexual assault charges, all the sexual assaults were reported. Fuck all. Fuck all. Keep your mouth shut. Here's your cat. They said in a letter to Kentucky Cabinet, so this is their response, that evidence showed clients in the state had more what is it? Evidence showed that clients in the state had more emergency department visits and more admissions and readmissions to hospitals and residential drug treatment facilities. Now, think about that for a second. Evidence shows if you attend one of these ARC rehabilitation treatment centres, you are more likely to have an emergency department visit. What for? What do you call it? Getting back on drugs, brain fart. But also the admissions and readmissions to hospitals and residential drug treatment facilities. That's the point. They don't want you to succeed. They want you to fail and go back again, because then they get to do it all over again. Yeah. More admissions and readmissions to hospitals and residential drug treatment facilities that you have been mandated by the court to go to as part of your parole or whatever. You must go. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You must go, or you fail and then you go back again. Or you go and you pass and then you fail and you go back again. However they decide to do it. But they do it. Without a doubt. Stearman reminded lawmakers that Kentucky was one of the few states that allowed the service to be billed separately. Psychoeducation does not have any national standards of clinical criteria that exist anywhere. So they're not reportable to anyone. They don't have, if you're one of these people, this is your job description, and this is what you must be qualified to. This is your experience level needed. Nothing. Not answerable. The perfect storm. Yeah? Perfect. This is when I say to you, they have finely tuned everything to work in their favour. They are insulated by one another, by them, the businesses around them, the insurances around them, the supports around them, the layers. So let's put it this way. If you could make money, like they decide they want to make money off putting a new tire on a car. Yeah. So they then would own the mechanics shop. They would own the tire service, the tire production, the tire sales teams, tire sales. They would put on unqualified staff to put tires on, and then they would make some. Okay, you get 50% off your tires if you go to this place, and then the insurance companies that company works under is owned by them, and then the lawn mowing services. I shit you not. That's the extent of control and the level of control and the level of income facility streams. Yeah, they're endless, especially if you have Andy Bashir making it way easier for you to do that and cutting out the red tape, and laws changing to make it that you can claim them as a separate treatment to maximize your profit margins, but without actually helping anybody. It's the scammer's dream. And they just rub their hands together every time someone fails. That's it. That's all they do. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a flying fuck about anybody. They see dollars. That's it. And they will do it. So everyone says, why? Why do they do this? Why do they falsify that charge? Why are they sending me back to jail? Why do I have to? This is why. They have set you up to fail from the beginning. You were never, ever meant to succeed. Ever. You were never meant to open your mouth. You were never meant to talk about it. You were never meant to mention it. Keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything. Look away. And if you do know anything, you're a threat and you're eliminated. You ask yourself, if you're living in Kentucky now, how many people do you know that have died in suspicious circumstances, drug-related? Or self-unaliving when there was no issues or no history of depression or suicidal tendencies? How many anomalies do you know? How many people in your family, friends? Guarantee you will know one, at least. There's not one person that has not been affected by any of this because they are so huge. They are everywhere. They've infiltrated everywhere. You just think how big MCHC is. That's just one. And my speculation, my opinion only, through lots and lots of research, in my opinion, it's facilities like MCHC and these LLC companies, that's how they launder it. Yeah. Because it doesn't come through the fiscal court, they bypass it. And then if you go into MCHC on one side, can you imagine where that money pans out and where it comes out on the other side to track it? That's, with the size of that company, huge job to find. Huge. Stearman reminded lawmakers that Kentucky was one of the few states that allowed the service. Oh, I read that. Okay. It's a standalone service. Unfortunately, we're paying a higher amount of Medicaid dollars for less evidence-based services, she said. Bashir's 2020 order and permission from Kentucky Medicaid to bill psychoeducation as a separate service helped create a new revenue stream for providers. Yeah. We love you, Andy. We're going to vote for you again because you just made us rich. Mm-hmm. Still, so this is the stuff that Mickey knew. And this is the stuff that's going on in his head. He knows how big it is. He knows the risk he's under. It ain't just about a sex scandal. Nothing at all to do with that. It's about keeping your mouth shut so you don't expose this shit, because that's the moneymaker. They just allowed Kevin to do that because he was a sick fucker. And he was also, I believe, the one who discovered this fact and then capitalised on it and wrote the programs now to create the funding through the government. Yeah, so they're applying for grants that don't even exist. He's making them up, but he's making up a program that would be great if you could create this one. Yeah, I think he's the brains. He was the brains behind. Oh, no, he is, because I don't think he's dead. The brains behind that for them. So, they kind of go, well, let him go. Yeah, might as well, because look, he's the one that did this. And that brings me to Mickey's case. The judge who didn't recuse himself, that knew Judge Mullins, was a part of a committee with him. Now, what do committees do? They approve things. And how many committees was Judge Mullins on in Kentucky? How many sums in pies did he have? What my first point of call would be to that committee. Can't remember the name of it, but I would go into there, because I think you have all the committee meetings online. They're all available. You can watch the whole thing play out on videos. I would be going into that committee and going way back, seeing how long they've both been on that committee together and what grants or federal funding they are applying for, because it'll be in there. They have to they have to document it. But they'll all be legitimate, there'll be legitimate reasons for them, and they'll all be rehab focused. But when you look at the actual percentage of topics of discussion in that committee, and you read through the list of how many times that they all relate to some form of funding, it's not like the topic, the biggest topic would be funding, when that's not what should be discussed. How do I explain that? If you've got 5 topics that are the major topics to be addressed within a committee, and they all should be of equal standing, equal weight, equal strength, equal importance, yet one of them takes up 50% of it and the rest have to share that it's that disproportionate amount of time, hours, effort within those meetings that show you what they're doing. If that makes sense. It's very hard for me to explain it. Where are we? Mental health liaison with Sheriff Cassie Cox. Yeah, they lie about everything, Dylan. I am. I'm sorry. I am very tired. I'm getting there, though. So you took a plea deal as well. So they coerced you with reducing your charges from aggravated assault, which they would have made up anyway, to attempted harassment. So they're seen as doing you a good deed, yeah? When really you didn't do any of it? Yes, yeah? Because that's every single person that I've spoken to is the same outcome, just different drugs, different. Yeah. Yes, I am sleep deprived. Jodie's spot on, but no one can get to the authority outside the region because call center and so on. No, we can. Just bear with me. We can. We've got them by the short and curlies right now. Yeah. And we need to capitalize on it, because now is the time. Now, the mainstream media is on it. They know what they're doing. Their credibility is fucked. And we need to capitalize on that as much as we can. It is like living in a third, it's like a communist country. It's a dictatorship. You don't have any rights. And how many times you get a felony? How many people in your county, in your community, what percentage have a felony conviction, be it a false one or a real one? And what happens when you have a felony conviction? You can't vote. You can't bear arms. Yeah, it all works in their favour. Every single bit of it. Where is it? Martha Mitchell. Look at you. Spamming away there, love. I was an inspector for the state for 20 years. I have 40 pounds of documents to prove every word I've said. Awesome. Awesome. I have a Google Drive account that I can share the link with you, that you can put anything you like in there, and I can share that with Brett, with whoever. I've got a few people that I can share that shit with, or at least a summary version of it. I do have a database, a legal database thing that you put all of you load all of your documents and your evidence into, and it puts it all together, collates it, summarizes it, and then you can say, okay, when did I get charged with this? And it will go and find it and extract it for you. It's amazing. And then if you ever have any problems with the law later, you can say, this is my charge. Find out every other time this has been mentioned in my records, or, whatever. How many times have I been arrested on this charge, or, that type of thing. And it's been very, very handy for my own stuff as well. Volunteer Mental Health brought up all the options for services, but left the names on the building. And, oh, yes, okay. So you won't realise you have no option. That's right. They just tell you lies, tell you they've got all this shit and convince you to take a deal. They killed your friend Peter. Yeah. Said suicide stole his estate. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. They do. And in fact, this week, Brandy has lost 2 people that she was close to as well. And one of them was a listed or a suspected known holder of some of the sex tapes of Kevin Mullins. It's convenient, isn't it? Shit hits the fan, and the person that they think's got the evidence is suddenly overdosed. It's happening today, now, and it's going to keep happening if we don't stop them. It's as simple as that. And if there's 5 different ways that we can approach that, then let's do it 5 different ways from Sunday, every day of the week. At the moment, I can see 2 potential start the domino effect ways to go, ways to proceed. Because, as I said, that level of confidence, that level of arrogance that they will never be found out, that's over. That's over now. And we can prove it. And in the big scheme of things, how many people in your community have they fucked off? You outnumber them 10-1. Minimum. The odds aren't looking good for them. Just saying, even if 20% of you came and followed or did something to contribute to that volume of charges, like, just shield, because I'm sure the same charge is probably valid for every single one of you. So whether they have one person claiming it or 5,000 people claiming it, it has more weight to it, and it forces their hand. It forces the Department of Justice and Corrections to do something about it because of public outcry. Yeah. Once it's in the public court of opinion, they're screwed. They're screwed because eyes are on. Eyes are on. Yeah. And they don't like that. They don't like being questioned. No, you can't do that. You're going to piss off the judge. Judges are not supposed to rule by emotion. That's the whole point. Non-bias. Yeah? Law, black and white. But what if you had someone there that was able to amend the laws to suit you? Is that justice? Is that fair? What's that about? If they don't stop doing this, it's only going to get worse if we don't stop them. There isn't anywhere else to go but down. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. This is why Brandy is so fired up about it, because she's watched her mother go through it. She's been through it. Her children have been through it, and now her grandchildren. And it's going to just cycle through the generations like it has for the last 60 years unless we do something together. Because it's the only way that you're going to get them is together, to support one another and come as a united front. And that will just clear the whole... Yeah, I'd like to put a bomb under the place myself, but I didn't say that. No, that's not a threat. It was a wish. All right. I love you, Jody. You can get calls and emails to Washington. Yes, I can. Well, not calls and emails. I can put through, I've got a draft motion to the Department of Justice that I am in the process of finalising with Sabrina. Because we can, off Sabrina's back, she's opened up the door now that she's gotten a guilty plea in the criminal justice system and in the civil. So they can't deny that the abuse occurs now because we have the convictions, the guilty pleas. There is no escaping that. The only thing we need to do now is prove that they were aware of it. They were aware that the abuse was happening, be it Judge Mullins, be it Ben Fields, be it Michael Clark. Yes, Michael Clark, you. Yes, you may not have been convicted, but you're definitely guilty. And pretty much the same exact MO as Ben Fields, just quietly. Same place. Yep. Same perverted, predatorial, advantageous use of abuse of power. Exactly the same, but under the veil of God, which is worse. You will be held accountable more when the time comes. Mark my words. They are all guilty. The level of guilt varies. You're either a perpetrator, in my opinion. There's two sides. You're either the one that's doing all the abuse, so to speak. So your Kevin Mullinses, your Michael Clarks, your Ben Fields, or you're the receiver of incentives to turn the blind eye. Keep your mouth shut. Don't rock the boat. Yeah? handout. That's why they need all this income, because they got to keep people happy and sweet. It's not, and then they don't elect people into the positions of power. They hand them down to their brothers, the next people that are trained to toe the line. It needs a full clearinghouse out of all of it. All of them need to go. All of them. The whole lot. Reset. Factory default settings. Anywho, this is still the first article. There is there is many out there. I might not get a chance to go through all of them, but I'll go through a decent amount. Okay. So, on the surface of the expansion of Robertson's company was a good thing, giving Kentucky more treatment beds per capita than any other state. A fact Beshear and other elected officials touted. Yay, look at us go. We're successful. I remember not too long ago when finding a treatment bed meant driving hours away or sitting on endless waiting beds. Yeah, until they realised they could make money. That all changed. By that point, ARC was operating as many 30 facilities and more than 20 eastern and central Kentucky counties. And that's one pie, one thumb in one pie. The rehab program is one pie. Oh. That year, Robertson announced ARC would expand into Ohio and West Virginia. Oh, that's pretty. It's lovely. I like that. Where's your house, Tricia? Is that... oh, no, that's Louisa. Sorry. The headquarters of ARC. I wonder which one it is. Might be this one here. Oh, let me make it bigger. Sorry. Change my screen settings. There you go. I think that might be that one there. That logo looks familiar. All right. During these years, staff members said they were repeatedly asked to falsify bills for non-existent treatments. ARC said it has since investigated significant funds to hire a compliance and auditing team. It's invested significant funds to hire a compliance and auditing team. A cleaning crew. Yeah. Fuck. Let's clean this shit up before they ask for it. And if that's the case, and they've found 1.7 billion on the cleanup, can you imagine what the actual figure would be? The half dozen people who spoke to the Herald Leader said the company sometimes billed when a gathered crowd did not meet the requirements of a meeting, such as when clients watched movies unrelated to recovery or had informal discussions while travelling in an ARC van. Oh, let's go down to Louisiana for the day. And let's claim that. Let's bill that because we talked about it. Or we're in the same vicinity anyway, so, same thing. Other times, clients played board games in lieu of group meetings. Well, the gatherings simply just didn't happen, but were billed for anyway. 3 former peer support specialists said. 3, not 1. And how many of those have been silenced? Because, yeah, you bet your damn bottom they have been. One way or t'other. When Shirley was a client at Crown, ARC's largest centre, he said it was common for a peer support specialist to sometimes walk in, ask me what I was grateful for. I would write it on a piece of paper, and then they would leave. Session over. Cheers. Tick. Shirley said, from talking with other staff members, that this was a strategy often used to submit bills for group meetings that did not occur. They've got to have some kind of feedback, yeah? Yeah. Oda Hager arrived as a client at ARC in 2015. That's this gentleman here. Okay. So he was a client, 2015, after a judge ordered him, really, to do so for carrying drugs. He ping-ponged between treatment and jail for the next few years. Does that sound familiar? Anyone? No. Just. And landed in 2021 at Mayhill, one of ARC's centres in Louisa. During his time there, first as a client and then as a peer support specialist. Enter, aka Stacey Yates. Hager saw examples of well-run peer support groups, but said they were rare. Our peer support group was all right, just sitting in the living room and watching a movie, while group leaders sat in the office on their phones. Good job. Hager, who worked at 3 ARC centres during the span of his nearly a decade of employment, said that kinds of groups that ARC billed for were the standard and forging group notes was common. Hager's account was corroborated by an ARC client who overlapped with him. Hager said he also relayed his experience to the FBI in an interview. In my mind, it was no different than a prison system, Hager said. It was just herding cattle. Get them in, get them out, get them in, get them out. Yeah. You're not a person. You're not an identity. You're not anything. You are a cash cow to them. That's it. You are a license to print money and nothing more. Don't ever fucking believe that you're not. They don't give a flying fuck about you, your family, your auntie, your uncle, your kids. They don't give a fuck. Individual peer support is intended to be a check-in with a client. How are you doing? Are you having thoughts of relapse? Are you feeling good right now? At the end of the check-in, a peer support specialist sent in quotes from the client to ARC's billing department to prove the discussion took place so the company could then bill Medicaid. But we were doing that with people we wouldn't even see because we were so behind. They don't care if you didn't get the service. Then do they follow you up? They chase you? No. That would mean paying someone to do that job, and that would take off their profit. Like, why do you think they don't investigate anything? That costs money to do that. Yeah, you got to pay for resources, for testings, legal testings. Yeah, costs money. Everyone says when they go to trial that the prosecution has an unlimited budget. They've got access to everything that the state can provide, unlike a defense attorney, But they don't even use that because no one gets to trial. And if they do, they fuck you around for 2 years because every single attendance at court is claimable. They have no incentive to resolve anything. Nothing. They don't even care if your kids are in danger. As long as they get their incentive, they meet their bonus for the month. Woo! Okay. I'm not justifying it, he said. When we were doing it, we didn't know it was a bad thing. Fair enough. Dustin Cornett, 34, was a client at Crown. After years of addiction, Cornett, who's from southeastern Kentucky, admitted himself into 2020 to ARC. He said he was disappointed when he attended peer support groups that largely consisted of watching popular movies. We never did a damn thing, he said. So this is a client. We all knew it was just a money racket, an insurance scam. So they all knew. Peer support staff said they were asked to meet billing quotas for each week. Pressure to meet those expectations sometimes resulted in staff falsely recording group notes, said Hager. And Becky Rose Bowman, who was initially a client and then later a director of a 120-bed ARC facility in Pikeville. So there you go. Unqualified, untrained, may have lived experience, 120 bed facility manager. There were days I had peer support groups booked back to back in 1 and 2 hour increments with no space in between. Billing was 100% their emphasis, she said. ARC supervisors above her mentioned peer group attendance and would come down on staff if their attendance was short in the notes they submitted for billing. So you were subject to, oh my Lord, you are not being shifty enough, not being shady enough. Get your shit together. Like me. Oh, okay. I need to make that. In addition to denying that, ARC encouraged staff fraud, Keaton, the company spokesman, said, as he processes in place to ensure appropriate billing. When issues are identified, for example, a peer support group watching a movie rather than receiving prescribed services, corrective action is taken immediately, and those services are not billed. Crock of shit. What else did you expect them to say? Becky Rose Bowman in downtown Louisa. She and other ARC peer support staff said they were asked to meet billing quotas each week. If anyone knows Becky here, it's a lovely lady. If she would like to come and have a chat, send her my details. If we'd like to speak to her. As ARC expanded, its staffing shortage grew more dire. Lack of staff, including licensed clinicians, was one of several systemic deficiencies. So they've got all of these unqualified people and no one that's actually qualified to treat these services or these symptoms. State officials conducted multiple site visits at 3 of ARC's largest centres after a client died in 2025 at River Place. Oh dear. The probe, which lasted from August to November, was also partly triggered by separate allegations that clients did not receive timely or appropriate care. Anyone at Letcher County Jail receive timely and appropriate care, especially medical care? Yeah? Anyone? Hands up? No? No one? Didn't think so. The report did not disclose the source of these allegations. No, because that puts them in danger. That's why there is safety in numbers. Keaton said the company was extremely saddened by the client's death. Isn't that lovely? Did they put out a nice little press release for them? Yeah. Only a budget one, though. Following an internal review concluded. Let me guess. What will that conclude? No indication that the death resulted from any action or inaction on the part of ARC. Really? Surprise. But those Kentucky investigators concluded that ARC operated with an absence of qualified licensed clinical personnel, calling it a sustained over years and systemic pattern. So over long years, everywhere. Didn't do anything about it. Didn't fix it. That's a pattern. Indifference is not a defense. Keep your mouth shut. Here's your cut. In some instances, state investigators found clients were recording and reporting their own vital signs. A violation of everything. The full report obtained by the Herald Leader shows employees regularly complained to ARC supervisors and administrators with persistent concerns that a shortage of staff was putting clients' health and safety at risk. If only they would listen. So this is what I'm telling you. Same MO, different county, different facility. Swap out the names, swap out the address, same MO. Countywide, statewide. and probably a bit more. So this is what the motion that I am putting forth with Sabrina is about. It is the fact that supervisors knew. They had reports, they have evidence. I've got affidavits, I've got depositions. You can prove that the supervisors were aware the issue was happening and did nothing. That's the criteria we have to meet. That's it. And the more of those that we can get, the stronger it is. And they cannot ignore it. They'll have to come and investigate it themselves, the Department of Justice. And the Department of Justice is the one who's investigating this. So they'll be super pissed already. Let's fuel that fire, huh? Strike while the iron's hot, I say. Because it's never a time better than now, with this now coming out. ARC staff raised this issue to supervisors, according to the report, saying it feels like we were working around the clock and my life is about to become unmanageable because I don't have enough staff. Another employee, this opens the door to remuneration. Yeah. Another employee, according to the findings, implied the shortage was so dire, I am scared to take a vacation. To help deal with the shortages, the company began sending clients to its own college. To its own college. Yeah, of course it is. Line their own college. Let's provide a training course on counsellors and claim the federal funding for that. Oh, fuck. 60%, roughly 60% of ARC's workforce is former clients. There you go. The company spokesperson said. ARC said it disputed the findings of the report. Of course it did. That's going to go, oh yeah, guilty did it. No, not going to happen. It noted that the cabinet did not suspend or close the facilities and that the company continues to operate and accept clients across all levels of care with the knowledge and approval of the power that be. Yeah? Did nothing. Have done nothing. And still doing nothing. Keep your mouth shut. Here you go. The state said the report has not been released because the investigation was ongoing. Yeah, fair enough. And you got to, once you hit ARC, that points to the judges making the orders. So that points to the courthouse. Then that points to the judges making orders on the inmates. That points to the jail. Yeah. And the dominoes fall. Big picture, people. Big picture. People inside the company said that those newly trained staff were often used when ARC couldn't provide regular visits with licensed clinical professions. Shannon Gray, who started in ARC in 2021 and oversaw all treatment services there until early 25, said clients rarely saw psychologists and counsellors and did not receive enough treatment. Clients rarely saw psychologists and counsellors and did not receive enough treatment from the more highly trained clinicians, the ones that are trained to help treat addiction. That definition of rehabilitation, learning how to deal with addiction, yeah. Just a thought. Instead, ARC relied too much on peer-led sessions billed under peer support and psychoeducation. The cash cow. From a therapeutic value, in other words, in what the client gets out of it, yeah, too many services, too many groups, who also wrote the curriculum that Shirley and others used when leading groups. I argued it many times, but even though I voiced concern, I still stayed there. So I'll call myself out on this. Well, good on you. Good on you. But then, you get what you think is a good job and you're secure. You've got a mortgage, you've got family, and you need the income. It's not your fault. It's that abuse of power. Yeah? The pressure to do that, it's not your fault. You shouldn't be put in that position in the first place. The state's 25 investigative report agreed with Gray, saying unlicensed employees at ARC were often asked to do jobs for which they were not qualified, such as medication oversight. This was despite the lack of licensure training and clinical competency required by state regulation. The draft DOJ settlement alleges something similar between 2018 and March 24. ARC knew or recklessly disregarded Medicaid rules by allowing unlicensed staff, practitioners that did not have professional credentials, to bill for behavioural health services that should have been provided by a therapist or professional counsellor. Is that not the ultimate definition of fraud right there? With a reckless disregard, a knowing of the situation, a knowing of the qualifications, and knowing that that wasn't going to be an optimal service provision to that person because they don't give a fuck, but they did it anyway because it has the biggest profit margin. Shelley, who had minimal training, said the company's computer billing system only allowed him to bill peer support groups under the psychoeducation code, which yielded a higher reimbursement. There you go, higher profit margin. Even if a clinician wasn't present with him when leading a group. There was never a discussion about any other code to use, just that one. Adding that he didn't know at the time how lucrative the psychoeducation code was. And see, that's with an employee who isn't in the big good old boys, yeah? If you are an employee here doing that and you are part of the good old boys, you get your cut, you get your handout, you get your, here, keep your mouth shut, here's your cut, yeah? You get that bit, that's your extra income. Why would you leave? Keaton disputed this allegation, saying that while ARC did receive millions from Medicaid for peer support and psychoeducation, there was no directive. No, there was nothing written down. You're going to put that in your policies and procedures? Hell no. There are going to be signs up. If you suspect your counsellor is capitalising on your treatment, call now. Oh my Lord. So they're arguing. The only answer is that you can't prove it. There's nothing in writing. Except there's a paper trail and there is a money trail. You bet your ass there is. It's federal funds. You're in the shit. And that's the technical term. Legislators step in. Okay, so today Robinson's grand vision has begun to unravel. Oh, poor man. Poor Tom. I wonder how Andy's sleeping at night now. That's all right. He can go to that clinic and get whatever he likes. That pop-up clinic that just opened around the corner. In 2024, the 7 managed care organisations in Kentucky raised alarms in a letter to the state's Health and Welfare Agency. Oh, citing high costs and poor outcomes. Not good for rehab. That year, Republicans in the Kentucky General Assembly acted. Did they? Reducing the amount Medicaid would pay. So they only just reduced the amount of profit. They didn't stop the actual fraud. Yeah? Yeah? Oh, shit, we better cut up. Tighten the belts, lads, just for a couple of years. Let the dust settle. Yeah, let the heat die down. We'll put it back up again after. Fuck me. In March of this year, a Kentucky lawmaker introduced a bill that outlawed billing for psychoeducation. Good for you. The legislature delivered the bill to Beshear's desk in late March. It's still awaiting decision. I don't know. I thought any different. Oh, fuck me. You can't write this shit. ARC continues to bill Medicaid and Medicare. But since the state's cuts to Medicare payments for certain services and the launch of the FBI investigation, ARC has laid off hundreds of employees. Yeah, and what else? Laid off? And shuttered dozens of facilities. Really? So, see, leaving some clients homeless. They don't give a fuck about you. Right there. Last year, ARC's founder tried to sell off most of the company in part to pay the Department of Justice a settlement. Oh, it's just like the Monopoly board. Now they're, you know, they own all of the properties around the board, the train stations, the utility companies, everything. And now they're selling off the hotels on them. Suffer. And then all of those people that get that are responsible for doing this need to be housed in the exact same conditions at Letcher County Jail that they put those people through. Every single one of them. According to the creditors, but the deal fell through in December. No one wanted to buy your shit-ass fucking company. When the two loan companies sued ARC in January for allegedly refusing to pay back the millions they were owed. So they did the shifty, by defrauding all these people. Then they get, they have a settlement by the Department of Justice. They can't afford to pay that because they've already spent the money. They get two loans, and they default on them. Mm-hmm. They claimed ARC was in desperate financial straits and facing imminent bankruptcy. A shame. And where is Michael Clark now? ARC claimed in a separate filing it needed that money for operating costs and called the demands for repayment unduly burdensome. Oh, but so it costs too much. Okay, I need to return that message. So give me 2 minutes. I'm going to be right back. And I will pick up where I left off. Have a listen to a song. I just need to take this. Sorry, it's important. I apologize. I'll put this one on for now. I'll be back in 2 shakes. Sorry.
We made it. Not gracefully, not quietly, but honestly, and that counts for something. This year didn't come with a soft landing. It came with nights we cried ourselves to sleep, mornings we got up anyway, and battles nobody clapped for. It took things from us, people, plans, parts of who we used to be, and still, here we are, breathing, standing scarred, but standing. If you're reading this, you survived a year that tried to break you. You carried grief, disappointment, fear, and exhaustion like bricks in your pockets, and you kept walking. That's not weakness. That's strength forged the old-fashioned way, through endurance. So here's to the ones who didn't have a great year but had a real one. The ones who kept going with shaking hands. The ones who learned that growth hurts, healing isn't pretty, and survival is a victory. New year, same heart but wiser, tougher, and harder to kill. We're not starting fresh. We're starting experienced. And that's powerful. We made it. Not gracefully, not quietly, but honestly, and that counts for something. This year didn't come with a soft landing. It came with nights we cried ourselves to sleep. Mornings we got up anyway, and battles nobody clapped for. It took things from us, people, plans, parts of who we used to be, and still, here we are, breathing. Standing scarred, but standing. If you're reading this, you survived a year that tried to break you. You carried grief, disappointment, fear, and exhaustion like bricks in your pockets, and you kept walking. That's not weakness. That's strength forged the old-fashioned way, through endurance. So here's to the ones who didn't have a great year but had a real one. The ones who kept going with shaking hands. The ones who learned that growth hurts, healing isn't pretty, and survival is a victory. New year, same heart but wiser, tougher, and harder to kill. We're not starting fresh. We're starting experienced.
That's powerful.
And that's powerful.
How good's that? That is courtesy of Miss Brandy. She wrote that. I just put music to it. Anywho, sorry about that. Back. All good. Let's go through some of these comments. Lordy me. Martha, you need to send me an email. Get my number from Brett or Tyre. Okay. All right, let's go back. Yeah, you need to put all this, Dylan, in because I can't save it off the chat. So, and anybody can read this. So don't. I would keep your cards close to your chest just in case, there's people that will use this in the wrong way. Does that make sense? I'd hate to see that happen. But as I said, if you're interested, you can absolutely come and have your say. You can have the stage, knock yourself out. You just need to let me know. That's it. Where are we? I love you, Jodie. You can get back. What? The US mail is corrupt here. I'm sure everything is dull. I've never been in trouble in my life. Same as Brandy. Yep. Exactly the same. And yet she's paying because she's guilty of guilty by association. That's all it is. She's a threat to them and their profit margins. So they can't get to her. They will attack her children and her grandchildren. Where is it? Well, see, this is where Brett comes in. I believe that he can find out who these people are. Yeah, the hackers, because that's his specialty. So he can trace them back to the source. And yeah. So they're screwed. Ashland's near you. So you're surrounded on all sides, Tricia. Well, I have a WhatsApp account. I have what's it called? What the hell is it called? Hang on. It's like a secure messaging app. Where is it? So it's so secure I can't even find it. It's fucking called. Come on, brain. There, what's that? Signal. So Signal is supposed to be an encrypted messaging system. Apparently, Messenger is too, but I don't know. And I've got WhatsApp as well. So they're all linked to my mobile phone, which I'm not putting up on the air. All right, I'll try and find it. You posted the news. I text. Yes, I've sent it all to the girls. All know, sweetheart. They are most definitely aware. They just got a few personal. They said that the heat's been turned up last week. Another wave of heat basically, and fuckery. So they're just putting out fires at the minute. So just bear with them. Teresa, you don't know how to get in touch with her either. Leave it with me. I'll try and think of something. All right. Jumping off my phone for the night. All right, Jen. Catch you next time, love. Thanks for coming. So glad you know what's going on in the heart of Dixie. No, it's not right. It's not right. It's not right at all. And it's a double-edged sword, knowing what's going on or being ignorant to it. And what I will say is the good thing is that I am over here in Australia. You know, I'm far from their physical reach, and the worst they can do is shut down my internet or my email address or my YouTube channel. Whoopsie. I'll just start another one, you know. No biggie. It's not like I make money at all. Right. This isn't Dixie anymore, Jody. No, it's not. And you can't click your heels like Dorothy and get out of there either. You testify for us all. Good for you, sweetheart. Send this thread with your motion to Washington for me. I will be once I've finished the motion and we've settled it all, like the actual wording and everything that Sabrina's happy with, because it's got to come off the back of her, because she's the connection. She's the connection between. Well, she's the one that set the precedents. Okay, so she's got the case law that goes with her case, so she can put this motion in because she believes, and we know that it was reported prior to her and nothing was done about it. And then if we stack that with other people that have complained and nothing was done about it, that's all we need to do. Simple as that. And you can do it anonymously as well. But I will, once I've got that wording and everything is sorted, I will do a specific stream instructing it what needs to be done, and it'll be completely your decision. The information is provided. You do with it what you will. Okay? But it will be very clearly instructed on what to do, how to do, or if you want to do it anonymously, that will have those instructions as well. So you can do with it what you shall. Now, we've been going for just over 2 hours. So the rest of this is pretty much the same. You know, you've got the gist of how they're doing it and why, and that the feds are onto it. So now what's this one? This is, oh, okay, that's that document. Okay, we don't need that. We've done that. Next one is, it's the same one. What's that? All right, this was sent to me today. So let's have a listen to this one. Not really sure what it is, but have a look.
Former Louisa prosecutor Tim Robinson felt called by God to open the doors of a healthcare ministry. Over the next decade, addiction recovery care became the largest rehab in Kentucky, earning the praise of Republicans and Democrats alike. But ARC's growth was fueled in part by billing practices that federal prosecutors and former
Are you kidding me? This is the Herald Leader describing what that entire article just said. I could have played.
employees now allege may have amounted to fraud. I'm Taylor Six, crime and courts reporter for the Lexington Herald Leader, and over the past 6 months, Alex Acquisto and I have worked on an investigation with ProPublica.
Contact her. Contact her. Subscribe to the Herald Leader. Contact her. Yep, and let them investigate.
Into ARC's alleged fraudulent practices. ProPublica and the Herald Leader interviewed 6 people affiliated with the company over the last 6 years, including former staff members, clients, and some who came for treatment and were later hired on. They shared publicly for the first time how they came to ARC seeking help for addiction, but became reluctant participants in the company's alleged billing scheme. Part of the fraud, 3 of them said, was committed at the explicit urging of supervisors who told them they were under pressure to meet billing targets set by ARC leaders, a circumstance exacerbated by a persistent lack of qualified staff, they said. Their accounts are supported by other clients and referred to in an unsigned draft settlement agreement between ARC, the state of Kentucky, and the Department of Justice.
Well, we know where that's going because I will share that and put that in my community posts on YouTube. Oh my Lord. I can't believe I could have just played that 5-minute snippet. Yep. Yes, I can. Tricia, stop laughing. I can see you now. Now where am I going? Defense rest. Why can't I get rid of that? Go away. Set in the way. Piss off. Go. I don't want the transcript. Stop. Oh my Lord. Stop sharing. Go away. Thank you. My channel. Post on community. There we go. Copy, paste. There you go. The link to that short is, if you look at my channel, the top menu where it says posts, it's in there. Okay. I'll also put, this is the one I wanted to show you also. This is the Department of Justice. Okay. And they are seeking assistance and information about ARC. Oh, add to stage, Jody. Okay. So this is the official site. And so if we go back one, I'll show you that it is the FBI. Okay. This is their site. Oops. Go back. And this is the form linked to it. All right. So when you go on to there, the link is what I've put at the top of the channel, the top of the chat, very top. It's pinned there, that link. It's also in the description box for those watching on replay. Hello. All right. So this is what they're wanting. The FBI's Louisville division is seeking information in the healthcare fraud investigation of Addiction Recovery Care, LLC, ARC. ARC is a substance abuse treatment provider headquartered in Louisa with residential and outpatient treatment facilities, blah, blah. No criminal charges have been brought against ARC at this time. But, yeah, they get more information. They get more evidence. You following? If you believe you were victimized by ARC or have information relevant to this investigation, please fill out this short form. The FBI is legally mandated to identify victims of federal crimes and investigate. So you cannot be, that's saying you cannot be anonymous if you fill this form out. But the one on the Department of Justice website, which I'll go to in a second, you can. Victims may be, but the thing is, if you do this anonymously, then you can, but when you go to, if you ever wanted to claim compensation for it, you need to have something to back you up in writing that you have reported it. Does that make sense? So victims may be eligible for certain services, restitution, and rights under federal and or state law. Your responses are voluntary, but may be useful in the federal investigation and to identify you as a potential victim. So once they've done that, then you can apply for compensation. It opens the door. But they need to have enough evidence to charge them, to prove that they've done something illegal, which is what we have with Ben. Okay? This is another offshoot. This is an extra and on top of that. So what we've got with Ben, we've already proven because he's pled guilty, both civilly and criminally. This is what I'm saying. Charges have been laid and he has been found guilty or pled guilty and he has served time. It is now case law, precedents. Based on the responses provided, you may be contacted by the FBI and asked to provide additional information. All identities of victims will be kept confidential, so they won't spread them out to anybody else. So this is the, you click that, that gives you all the information that you know. So for victim compensation and assistance, okay? Follow the prompts, choose your state and follow the details, okay? What's that? OVC, what's it stand for? Victims, Office for Victims of Crime, okay? OVC. And believe you me, you are all victims of this crime, all of you. Anyone who's got anything to do with it, you are victims of this crime because they have stated that there is evidence that they are putting, because of their lack of training and educated, qualified staff, the clients are at risk of harm. There you go. That's documented. You're a victim. Right there. All right, let's go back one. There's also, you scroll down a bit further and that's got all your information. What are the questions? Were you a patient at an ARC facility between January 1st, 29 and present? Yes, no. If you proceed to question 2, proceed to question 2. If no, proceed to 6. So let's say yes. Provide the dates of your treatment and keep it simple and the names or locations of the facilities. So, okay, 5th of May, ARC Louisa, rehabilitation. Yeah, how long? Next one, if there's more. Keep it point form because they ain't going to read essays. They don't want to hear how you got there, why you got there, how you were done wrong, just the basic facts. If they then find them to be credible, you can tell that to them in an interview after that. But this is the first step of telling your tale, if that makes sense. If have you made a report about ARC previously? Because that then proves that they knew and did nothing. That's the point. Indifference or ignorance is not a defence. Do you have any other information that may be pertinent to this investigation? Were you an employee of ARC in that time? Please list any medical procedures, exams, or services at ARC that you believe were not medically necessary. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that opens up a big one. Oh, I didn't read that bit. Okay. What about all those kids that were sent from drug court to get all their wisdom teeth taken out in bulk, buses of them? What's in their wisdom teeth? Stem cells. Mhm. If you have made a report about ARC previously, please identify the person or entity you contacted. They are trying to find out that if you reported it to a supervisor or someone higher up, so that they can establish that it was someone in power or someone that could have done something but didn't. Do you have any other information that may be pertinent to this investigation? So, and then click "You're not a robot" and send. That's it. Can you imagine if every single victim at Letcher County Jail filled this out in that time from 91, 2000 and what did it say? Go back. No, didn't go back. Go down. That's what he said. She said. January 1st, 2019 to the present. All right. Imagine if every one of those people threw that jail. Okay. Now, this last one. Oh. All right. I got this today, but it's dated in January of this year. Okay. So this says another creditor lays claim to Foundering Addiction Treatment Provider's $8 million loan. Okay. Now, who are all these people? Wielding the ceremonial scissors, Governor Andy Bashir. That's Andy there. Helps cut the ribbon on the Yellow Banks Recovery Centre at Owensboro. Bashir is flanked by Tim Robinson. Yeah? Mate, CEO of ARC, third from the left in the photo, and Rocky Adkins, senior advisor to Bashir. Okay. The ones with the crispest, most expensive suits on. The centre was ARC's first in Western Kentucky. Federal lawsuit accusing Addiction Recovery Centre, or ARC, Kentucky's largest treatment provider, of defaulting on an $8 million loan has a new twist. 2.5 weeks after Angelica Capital Trust sued the embattled provider, accusing ARC of refusing to pay the $8 million, a second company is seeking to join the case. Okay, well, we actually covered that in the first one because it did say two different companies. So that's further evidence that two people or two companies have been fucked over by them. Contempt of court. Ooh. Owners ordered to appear at contempt of court hearing. Yeah, see, that's that circle I was saying on the overview. ARC's Kentucky's drug treatment is facing mounting legal troubles, dear. Federal judge has ordered ARC and its owners, Tim and Lila Robinson, to appear at a hearing Thursday in federal court in New York to show why they should not be held in contempt of court for spending assets the court had ordered ARC to freeze. Ooh. Okay. US Judge George B. Daniels also ordered the Robinsons and ARC's in-house lawyer Jessica Burke to appear for a deposition or questioning under oath by Angelica's lawyers. ARC is wrongfully withholding this money because it is in desperate straits, said Angelica's lawsuit. ARC, in response to the initial lawsuit, did not reference the fraud allegations or the proposed settlement with the US Justice Department. Oh. But asked the court not to freeze its assets. Please, sir, don't. Saying that would disrupt the crucial healthcare services. Crucial healthcare by uneducated, unqualified, and unnecessary services, but crucial. because we just love our patients. We, yeah. Yeah. No one's buying that shit anymore, love. No one. Fueled by expansion in medical payments for such treatment, and Robinson and his company emerged as prolific political donors. Oh, someone might call that a bribe. Yeah. Prolific. Oh, who did they give it to? Bashir. No. Isn't that nice? See how this all goes around in a circle and ends up back in the same place it started. And it ain't going to stop until we stop it. In this state of the Commonwealth speech, Bashir left recognised Robinson and highlighted the story of Brad Bentley Wright, a native of Marrabone in Pike County, who went from active addiction to program director. I wonder how much he got paid for that. I mean, I'm sure that he's probably a, or maybe an addiction, survivor, recoverer. But there's your example right there that Andy's putting forward as a success story and a justification to rip everyone else off. Look, we're doing good, really. He says so. How much did you get? Yeah. The donations to Democrat Bashir were a shift in the giving pattern. Donations. I like how that's a very liberal word for that. From mid-21 through the end of 23, Robinson, his corporation and employees gave at least $250,000 to Bashir. You've got to be a dickhead if you can't see this, really. Like, for shiz. I'm way over here, not even anywhere near it, and it's like neon. Robinson, the Lancet's analysis shows that including money contributed to Bashir's committees, that's called funneling funds. Robinson, his corporations and employees have made at least $570,000 in political contributions over the past decade, as his for-profit company grew from a single halfway house to about 1,800 residential beds. You paid for that. You didn't know it, but you did. And keep it going in that. If you're still in that cycle right now, you're paying for the next person to join. Pretty much. Because the cycle won't stop. Look at those faces. Just remember those faces, okay? In an interview, Robinson explained, "I've never been for anybody like I've been for Andy Bashir." Of course. Did you get on your knee? Yeah? Yeah. Did he give you a reach around? No? Got pistol grip ears? Bashir has a unique ability to bring people together. Sorry. Yeah. Political agenda. And this is why I hate politics. The remaining 90,000 came in scores of mostly small contributions. Yeah, I'm sure. Pass the hat round. Yeah. Robinson said that a total of more than 570,000 seems high to me. But he added, whatever the record is, the record is. Really? You mean they never falsified anything? And that's probably a third of what they actually got, truth be told. Robinson, a recovering alcoholic who grew up poor. All right. Oh. said he has no compunctions about his political donations after years of struggling financially to build ARC from a single halfway house to a statewide network. You didn't build it, mate. Okay. All right. That, my dears, brings us to the conclusion of today, as I have an appointment to go to, and that was my reminder. So, if you just put into Google ARC fraud scheme, whatever, you'll find all these. They're out there. They're for people to see. You can find them. And they validate everything that we've been researching, looking into, finding, reporting. So share as much of it as you can. Educate people that don't know about it. Tell them how it works. Give them this link, whatever you want to do. But everyone in Kentucky needs to read these articles and learn how they do what they do. Okay? I wish you all the best of luck. I know that it is a big ask. But I don't see any other real options. The only way to get them to change anything is to face them head on. And if we do it together, once there's attention on it, like there is now, and we strike while the iron's hot, and the department gets flooded with thousands of, reports of this, and this, they're screwed. Like I said, you outnumber them 10-1. United, what is it? United we stand, divided we fall. But there is more coming. We've got lots of stuff in the pipelines coming up very quickly in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. Click that notification bell to all so that you get notified every time we go live. Sometimes it's just, spur of the moment because we've heard something, found something, whatever. So thank you again for joining us. On your way out, if you could click that like button, that would be absolutely amazing. And if you enjoyed today's stream, click on that subscribe button. It costs nothing and it really, really helps. It helps get us out to a bigger audience and share it. You get into the algorithm, and the more people that we can get it to, the more people that can act on it, the more chance we have of change. All right. So if you can't be good at it. Be nice to your mum because she loves you. And hasta la vista, bitches. Until next time, bye.